Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone on this beautiful Florida day that we're having to our meeting today. Thanks for joining us virtually. And at this time, we'll just mosey along. Bev, I have you down for the invocation today. Is that what you have? Gosh.
Yes, I do. I'm ready.
Well, ready when you are.
Okay, thank you. Let's take a moment together. As we begin this time together, may we have wisdom and grace in our dealings with each other. Help make us channels of your peace, that where there is hatred, we may bring love, that where we bring this forgiveness, that where there is discord, we may bring hope, that where there is sadness, we may bring joy. Finally, help us see the many good things around us and ways we can be a blessing to someone we encounter today. Amen. And I have my flag too. Let's begin. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for
which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice
for all. Thank you, Bev. At this minute, I know Pat sent the minutes out from our last meeting. Did anybody have any adjustments? If not, I appreciate it. Thank you, Pat, for doing that. It's a great historical record.
You're welcome.
I did not have any membership birthdays this week. If I did miss one, speak up now. We'll have to wait till next year. Membership anniversaries, I have Julie Scales. Now, Dag DB was incorrect. She's only been a member for 2 years, but she's been a member since 1996. I think that's approximately, she's been a member of the club for approximately 26 years now. So she's definitely been with the club for 1 or 2 days. I bumped into her yesterday, actually. It was great seeing her again. But this time, Chuck?
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, my fellow Rotarians and guests. Dick Wilson's waving at us. We're ready to do Happy Bucks, which is in this automated world more of an opportunity to update, announce, and share adventures. So if your last name begins in the first third of the alphabet, let's say A through H, if there's anyone that has something they'd like to contribute, please Pat Bowers raising a hand.
Well, it was a fun time on Sunday afternoon to clean up Rotary Park. It was swiftly done, and then we went to Frenchie's and had libations and food, and the sheet crab soup is excellent at Frenchie's. So I just want to give them a plug for an excellent soup. But it was kind of one of those Scottish days, kind of drizzly and damp and, cool, but it was good to be with Rotarians. There were 7 of us and doing good. It was fun.
Okay, Tom Dugard, did you raise a hand? No? Okay, Bev?
All right, I am announcing that it's official. The peace pole has been planted, along with 2 benches. The signage is there, and the landscaping is complete. So, what a happy day. I was out there every day, sometimes twice a day, before, I think I get the week before, because they didn't know exactly what day they were coming out to plant. But finally they called me and said, come out, it's happening. I know Linda and I'm sure some others have been out taking pictures, and just feeling the vibes off of that peace pole is wonderful. Just saying the word peace when I'm out there, I'm thinking, whoo, it just lowers the temperature, so to speak. So please keep talking about February 23rd, 6 o'clock. It's going to be a wonderful and meaningful event. And Dina, I don't know if it's appropriate for the Happy Buck, but I'd sure like you and Tom, if you'd like to talk about the reception part, which we haven't mentioned yet.
Sure, I'll tag on and Tom can jump in. Our very own Tom Murphy is going to be doing the catering for the reception. We have a lovely menu planned, a very elegant set of past hors d'oeuvres. There will be hot cider, there'll be water. So a very lovely gathering, a time to network and celebrate.
Can you repeat what the event is? Is this for the Peace Poll?
This is a
Yes,
peace
it's all
poll.
for the Peace
Okay,
Poll.
great. Thank you.
Yes.
Great.
A question, is it all outdoors, Bev?
No, the first part will be outdoors, where the proclamation will be read, and we have kids from Academy Da Vinci singing "Let There Be Peace on Earth." We've got a couple kids giving peace poems. We have all three presidents there from each of the three clubs in town, and they will be giving a little speech.
Proclamation.
Will be read by Julie, and oh my gosh, it will be 30 to 35 minutes of packed information and inspiration around peace. And then we'll be escorted in by our very own Rotarian, belongs to the North Club, Pat Snare. She will be playing the bagpipe and taking us into the community center, where we will have we'll not only have the food, as Dina mentioned, by Tom Lucky Lobster, and thank you, but we will also have some music and a banner and just a good time sharing stories and networking. We also will have peace posters up by kids to show what peace means to them. So I'm anxious to see all of those as well. So please come out. We want a good turnout. Bring prospective new members, bring family and friends, and we'll see you out there 6 o'clock, February 23rd.
Yeah, the birthday.
Yes, Dina, want to mention that?
Oh, I forgot the birthday cake. We will have a wonderful cake celebrating the 117th, I think, birthday of Rotary. So it's a lovely day, a harmonious celebration for peace and for Rotary.
Excellent. Anyone else in the rest of the alphabet have Larry Franklin, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to reach out to thank the members that participated Sunday afternoon. Cold, dreary, drizzling day out there, but the cleanup team made it happen. The park looks a lot better from the work that we did, and I just want to reach out and say thank you for doing that. And I enjoyed everyone's company at French's Outpost afterwards.
Great. Does anyone else have anything they'd care to offer here as a personal update of what's been happening in their lives at all? Yes, Bev? Okay. I'll take a moment and share with you. I was at a conference in Austin last week, and they did have a little bit of an ice storm on Wednesday, and by Friday, everything was still a little bit icy, and the airline industry was just a mess last week, and got to the airport at 2 o'clock for a 5 o'clock flight, and well, it never took off. The short story is at 8 o'clock, they finally canceled it, and they said, we'll have your luggage up in 15 minutes. And an hour and a half later, I asked the guys at the luggage service center, when is it going to come down? They told us 15 minutes. And we got the classic response, oh, the people upstairs lie all the time. Well, the luggage had not been delivered by midnight. And so it was off to get a rental car before they closed to get to a hotel room. They previously said, well, if we don't have it up for you tonight by midnight, maybe we'll have it tomorrow morning by 8 o'clock or so. 8 o'clock came, there was no luggage. 9 o'clock came, there was no luggage. 10 o'clock came, and they were finally willing to talk to us. And they said, oh, well, your luggage has been committed to the American Airlines system. And you'll see it at your point of destination tomorrow, which for me was Tampa. So Saturday morning, I had a chance to, again, enjoy all of my clothes from Friday, along with the drive, a part of about the first 800 miles of the trip back to Tampa. And then on Sunday, I got to enjoy those same clothes again for a drive all the way directly to the Tampa airport, getting there about 4:30 or so, 5 o'clock. And I was looking for my luggage. I don't know if any of you happened to be traveling last weekend. There were just a million people in all of the airports and hundreds of thousands of pieces of luggage all over. It was a mess. I'd never seen anything like it. They had people at American Airlines just quit and walk away from the counters. They were unattended completely. And they said, oh, your luggage might have been intended to be here on Saturday, but it's not here on Sunday. We'll try to get it to you sometime in the next 2 days. Well, my luggage finally arrived late last night. So I finally was able to redeem all of my belongings. So adventures of modern life when you travel in the wintertime. And of not a happy dollar, but an adventure dollar. With that, we close this section and I turn it back to Larry.
Oh, thank you, sir. Well, hey, at least your luggage showed up again. Been there, done that. It's not a fun adventure. Well, at this time then, Pam, I'd like to turn the floor over to you to introduce our program.
Thank you, Larry. Today we are going to talk about beer because I really think that on a beautiful day such as this, nothing could make us feel better. And our speaker today is Andy Poice from HOB House of Beer, HOB Brewing. I've known Andy for a number of years. He knows everything there is to know about beer and is also a pretty nice guy. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Andy to tell us everything we need to know.
Thanks, Pam. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. This is the first time I've spoke with this Rotary group. I have had the pleasure of talking with the other two on occasion when I've been invited. So Pam said you guys have a lot of questions, and I don't have a script, so we can pretty much talk about anything. I'll give you just a little background. We started in February of 2009 with the original Dunedin House of Beer at 927 Broadway. It's right on Alt 19 there. Both myself and my business partner are avid homebrewers, so it made sense for us at some point to evolve into making our own beer, which we started doing in 2014. We had kind of the opposite journey as most places. Most breweries open as a brewery and then they have a tasting room. Well, we opened as a tap room at the House of Beer, and we were lucky. It was good timing. We got out in front of this craft beer movement, and we became a top 100 beer bar in the U.S. in 2010 and 11. So in 2014, we started renting the Cutic Electric building, which we are in now, and we were fortunate enough to be able to purchase this building in October of 2016. So this is where the brewery operation has expanded to, and we were very fortunate with our roots because we got to see what the public liked. Craft beer was just really non-existent back then when we opened. I'd have to go to Oldmar to find craft beer, or to the Mellow Mushroom in Tampa. There just wasn't, Dunedin Brewery was open, they were doing their thing, but they only had like 3 or 4 flavors, and, I think they were content with what they were doing. And to their credit, when we opened and we started expanding the craft beer to the masses, they upped their game. They opened the Nook, and they started making some really good beer. So that being said, we started brewing across the street at where we are now, the old Cutic property, which is right on the trail. And we got to see for 5 years what people liked, what kind of beers they enjoy. So we kind of dialed in our beers to be those type of beers, very popular beers that we also distribute our beers to different accounts, restaurants, and bars. And the type of beers we make aren't the kind that get a lot rotated in and out. Like, for example, in our tap room, I'll rotate ambers, I'll rotate different IPAs, different styles. The type of beers we targeted are the kinds that are very unique, like our peanut butter blonde, our cucumber IPA, our mango heavy, those kinds. There's not a lot of substitutes out there. We're starting to see some more, though, as the rest of the world has caught up to this craft beer movement. Nowadays, you can't go anywhere, any restaurant, any place, and if they have 5 taps, 3 of them will be craft. Everybody is offering some craft beer now. So our timing has been was good. Back then, we opened the same time World of Beer did. They had their first store, and Outback bought them and took them national. Same time as Cigar City. Cigar City opened same time. Their trajectory has been a lot steeper. They had a little more deeper pockets than we did when we opened it. They have since been bought by the parent company of Oscar Blues and now Monster Energy. So, but we're staying true to our roots. We like craft beer for the masses. We have very broad appeal in our offerings. And that being said, we let our brew staff, we have a phenomenal team. They get very creative. They can do some really neat things with flavors. We've got some, coconut beers on there, key lime beers, pepper beers, which I really enjoy. So, like most breweries, you may see some of our beer out in the public at different establishments, but at the breweries, we're going to get a lot of the unique stuff that isn't out in distribution. I think it was Linda that brought up our second Friday night markets. We're blessed with space down here. We've got 36 parking spaces down here. We have a big lot which we have used at times for different charity events. The Dunedin North Rotary, we did an Alzheimer's event in October, and we raised $8,500 for doing a cornhole tournament for the Alzheimer's project. So we've been blessed to do things like that. We have a vegan food truck rally and market about 3-4 times a year, and our second Friday night markets. However, due to some recent rumblings in the city with some centers of influence, that has been said that when we close off our parking lot, that puts an undue burden on the city's resources. We have currently suspended our night markets and any and all music, any events basically, until we get this stuff sorted out. So the one that was supposed to be this Friday is unfortunately off for now. We're hoping we can bring them back online because they're very well attended. People like them. We bring a lot of people downtown for these events. They'll come. They'll come by. They'll grab a beer, but they also shop and eat at other restaurants around town. So we understand the space that we have, the very big footprint, the high profile of it being right on the trail, comes with great responsibility. So we try to create a very family-friendly, pet-friendly environment that the community has responded to, as well as bringing in visitors from out of the area. So we're one of 7 breweries in town, as you know, all within a mile or so. And it's really helped put Dunedin on the map in terms of tourism and visitors. So I don't know. With that being said, I'll open up to any questions you guys may have. Pam, you had mentioned about beer-specific styles. I mean, I can talk about that, or our place here, the business, the town, anything you guys like. Hi, Ken.
Hello there. Andy, I wish you would talk about, I guess the first time that I made the correlation between the quality water in Dunedin and the breweries here was when I was reading the front page of the Tampa Bay Times after the fire that destroyed the reverse osmosis system. Could you talk about how that really impacted your business? And I understand it's back up and running. I'm assuming things are back like they should be, but just the value of that system to this town. I'd like for you to speak on that if you would.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kent. If you guys go back, most of you have been here a long time, you look at the municipality reports, Dunedin has some of the best water in the entire area. We're consistently ranked at the top of all the different municipalities in terms of our water quality. So that's a really good foundation to make really good beer. The first brewer we had, hi Wendy, The first brewer we had, when we were pulling in water through our big water filtration system through Florida Water Treatment on Main Street, we were pulling in at 4 parts per million chlorine, 4 parts per million, which by any stretch, any measurement is fantastic. Wasn't good enough for them. So we got this Mac Daddy huge filtration system, heavy duty, to bring it down to 0. So we have no parts per million chlorine in the water that we use to brew with. When that fire happened and the water was hitting our filtration system at a much higher parts per million than it had, we had to actually run it through twice. Not a big deal for us. We were able to do that. I know it did affect some of the smaller breweries, some of the ones that don't have as robust equipment as us, but we meet every now and then. We talk about things like that, and I know they had some challenges. But the good news is now it's back up and running, and everybody should be back the way it was. And yeah, and hats off to Paul and everybody at the city that was able to get that back online as fast as they did.
Thank you.
Pam, you have a question? Dick, you've got one.
What beers do people order, and is it seasonal?
Yeah, it's a good question. Our having that focus group across the street before we started brewing really allowed us to see what people like. So one of the most popular beers when we were a tap room was a beer by Lost Coast Brewery out of California called Tangerine Wheat. It's just a fruity wheat beer, and I knew that when we started making our own, we got to do something like that, but I didn't want to do tangerine. That's what they're doing. So we came up with our mango Hefe. It's a German, Hefe is short for Hefeweizen. It's a German wheat beer style, but we made a Florida style with lots of mango in a puree form. It's our flagship beer. We sell more of that than probably the next top 2 or 3 combined. It's a really light, easy drinking beer. We call it a gateway beer. If somebody's not into craft beer, they want their Bud Light or Coors, that's fine. But hey, try this. And they like it, they try it, and it's like, wow, yes, I'll take one of those. So it's really done well for us. We have core beers such as that, our peanut butter blonde, our cucumber, our IPA, our amber. But there's also seasonal beers, like you mentioned, Dick, like our Oktoberfest. Or we'll do a special summer style beer for the Orange Fest. We had an orange wheat last year, I believe. We'll do a stout during Christmas time. So yeah, the different seasons do provide us an opportunity to get creative and to have some fun beers, which mostly you're only going to find at our brewery. Now, we are working on a mobile canning line. We got a big centrifuge coming. It's a big piece of equipment that helps further clarify the beer. So once that's online, we're going to be doing our initial canning. So we'll be able to put beers in cans, some of our more popular ones, because right now it has to be, if you want to take beer to go, it's either a keg or a growler, which is a plastic or glass 32-ounce or 64-ounce container. And it'll keep for, a good ways until you open it. But canning will allow us to be on boats, out of the golf course, things like that.
Ron, you had a question.
Yes, thank you. My question is, do you do tastings, beer tastings for groups?
Yeah, we do a lot of that. They'll call, they'll set up, they'll bring a group in, and our staff will give them the nickel tour of the brewery, answer any questions, show them the equipment, and then it comes with tastings. And we have, we do tastings in general every day. You come, hey, what's that taste like? What's that? And then the bartenders will give you a little sample of it. We also do flights. Well, more so across the street, but they're 5-ounce pours, and you can get as, if you don't want to commit to a whole one or you just want to try a bunch of little ones, we try to make it as easy and as a rewarding experience as possible. I know sometimes when I go to new breweries out of town, I want to try a bunch of different things, but I can't drink a whole or even half a beer of all of them. So 5-ounce pour we found works just right.
Okay, is there a cost for that, Andy?
Yeah, we price them. See, when you go to a brewery, a lot of times if you order a flight, you have to get 4 or 5 or whatever they're set up to do. We don't have that. You could do 1 or 10. and we just price them individually. They're all like we're not $2 or so, depending on the beer, depending on the ABV, which Pam mentioned earlier. That's the alcohol content or how expensive the beer is. And like anything, right now, the cost of goods sold, the raw materials, grain, hops, everything's kind of gone up. And we've had to do like a really slight price increase, first time in years, and I hate doing that. I hate doing that, but it just is what it is.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Ken, you had a question. Ken Rico.
Yes, Andy, thanks for being with us today, first of all.
You bet.
But I hear a lot of terms thrown around, small batch, handcrafted, local crafted, microbrewery. Is there actually a technical, excuse me, is there actually a technical difference between these terms? I thought maybe it's by the volume that was being created that caused a difference of terminology. But would you clarify that, please?
Yeah, good question. A lot of those are interchangeable. The small batch, handcrafted, locally crafted, they kind of speak for themselves. The really only true measurement is the volume, like you said. To be considered a craft beer, you could not brew more than, it used to be 10,000 barrels, 12,000 barrels, whatever that parameter was. Then you had guys like Sam Adams in Sierra Nevada kept pushing that number up. They kept pushing that number up. So that number kept getting higher and higher. I forget what the number is now, but a craft brew, a true craft brewery, and now those big boys like Sam Adams and Sierra Nevada don't qualify because they make too much. They're kind of getting into that macro status. So as long as you're under that threshold, you're considered a craft brewery, a microbrewery. The other terms like handcrafted, things like that, they're more marketing terms.
Thank you.
Yes.
Pat, you had a question.
Question. My husband really likes beer, so I become the driver. I want you to tell me how to get a really good non-alcoholic beer at a place like the House of Beer. Do you have one?
We do. We have a couple. We don't make one, but we always offer them. And right, I think the ones we have right now, there's not a ton of choices in non-alcoholic craft beer. So you're getting like a St. Pauli Girl NA or a Genesee NA. I think those are the two we have right now. Another non-alcoholic option is, and I'm a huge kombucha guy. I love kombucha. I have kombucha on tap at home. We always keep it on tap, number one. Wonderful flavors. It's a nice fermented tea, a little carbonated. To me, it satisfies my soda craving, and it's actually got some benefits. It's got some probiotics in there. It'll help you digest a gnarly meal if you need to. So we have some non-alcoholic options plus all the sodas there. But a true non-alcoholic beer, I don't know any craft breweries that are making that. And it's an economics decision. They probably don't do it very much, but we do offer it. We do have those. If you want a beer, it's just going to be made by probably one of the bigger boys or an import.
I have one more question.
Yes.
When we lived in Cleveland, Ohio, we used to drink Rolling Rock beer, and it was excellent because it was made with really good water. Then they moved to New Jersey, and their beer wasn't nearly so good anymore because the water wasn't any good anymore. But I always wanted another Rolling Rock because it was so tasty. Do you have anything that tastes like Rolling Rock?
Yeah, Rolling Rock's an amber lager. It's interesting that if right now I can buy 1,000 different flavors and brands of beer. Rolling Rock may be the cheapest in terms of price, the price of kegs. It doesn't get bad. It's like PBR, it's or Narragansett. It's got its following. We always have similar styles in there. Our Golf Cart Amber, technically it's an ale, but it's the same color, same style. We do have several crisp lagers. Dialing in just like Rolling Rock. I'd have to see what's currently on tap. Our tap lineups change every week. There's out of 25 taps, you'll probably see 20 of the same ones, but probably 4 or 5 new ones every single week. We do small batches. Every batch of beer we make is 20 big kegs, and sometimes they will subdivide that. They'll have the same base, but we treat it differently. So, Pat, to answer your question, I don't know if there's one on that I would say, look, this is just like Rolling Rock. I can guarantee you, though, if you're a Rolling Rock fan, I'll give you 3 or 4 to try, and you'll like, oh, yeah, this is a good one, or I like this. It may not be just like Rolling Rock at that time, but I think you'll find something you like.
Thank you.
Chuck, go ahead.
Hi, I wondered if you could address the term IPA and how that relates to hoppiness.
Yeah, sure. So the term IPA is an India Pale Ale. It started way back in the 1700s when the English would ship beer to India. And in order to preserve it, they would hop the heck out of these beers. They would stuff them so full of hops it would act as a preservative. So it gave those beers its own style of, characteristics and traits which were very hoppy. Now we, as Americans, like we typically do, we totally bastardize that style. We come in and we hop the heck out of it right out of the beginning, right while it's in the fermenters. So depending on when you add the hops, it gives the beer different characteristics. Some is more bitterness, some is more aroma. So anytime you see IPA, expect it to have a very pronounced hop characteristic, whether it's going to be bitter, whether it's going to be more on the back end. If you will smell it, you'll feel it. And the hop heads, it is a natural evolution of beer lovers. People who start off on the light stuff, and then they go maybe a little darker or an amber. Then they get into the hoppy stuff. And there's a technical term called the Lupulin Threshold. And it said that once you cross that Lupulin Threshold, that's your palate, your desire for those hops, you never go back. So it's very interesting, and I've seen this firsthand over the last 12, 13 years, how people really enjoy the hoppiness, and that's why the most popular style in the marketplace is IPAs. People are getting very creative. They're hopping. I mean, a brewery like ours, you probably have 5 or 6 IPAs on right now, different styles of IPAs on right now, because that just seems to be what craft beer lovers gravitate towards.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, yes, of course, Larry.
I just have a question. When I was traveling, you do a lot of hospital software across the country. And it was in Minnesota. I ran across a beer called Special Export out of Minnesota. And they had it tagged extra strong because the alcohol content was more than was permitted by the state. I was curious, do we have any type of limits on alcohol content by the state of Florida that you have to follow?
It's a good question. I don't see anything in terms of alcohol content. I mean, once it gets up so high, it's just not going to be very marketable. But some people push the threshold. The highest ones we've ever had were from Dogfish Head, and they're in that 18 to 22% range. Florida, I don't know. Yeah, but to me, they taste so boozy, and I really can't enjoy it. There are states like Alabama and Mississippi, I think, has some very strict laws. They can't be over 5% or 6% or whatever. Florida, thankfully, doesn't have those kind of restrictions. I don't know what other states have, but you just don't see a lot of them. If you guys remember Hoppers over there at near Landsbrook, Eastlake, Bronze, he's an Australian. He's one of the few true brewmasters in this area. He would make one. I think it was called the Hop Gun or something. It was a 44 something or other, but it was 22% alcohol.
Wow.
So again, I can't really enjoy those. I don't see them. If you had something like that on, somebody might order it for the novelty, but it's just not really part of the mainstream of what we do. Some breweries get into competition every now and then, like the Brewdog. There's a few, they keep going back and forth. Who's made the highest gravity, highest alcohol content beer ever? But you won't see it out there in the marketplace too much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this was a Minnesota. It was brewed in Minnesota.
You remember what it was?
You're talking 20%, and it's talking, and theirs was 7% alcohol. It had to be flagged as a strong beer.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Thankfully, the laws are catching up with the times. There was still there was an old container law in the books just not too long ago that beers had to be served in certain sizes. There was like 4 approved sizes. And what it did, that was an old lobbying from the beer distributors that kept out these European brands that were in like 33 mLs or these different sizes. So there's still a lot of money in lobbying and keeping some of these laws at bay. But thankfully, there's enough of a grassroots movement in states like Florida that's getting a lot of these changed.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Andy, I'm just wondering, can I find House of Beer selections in local restaurants?
Yes, we're all over Pinellas County, the beaches, some spots in Tampa. You'll see our taps. You'll see them big HOB. And if we're not there, ask for it. Complain to the manager. Why don't you have HOB? Tom does. Tom does a great job of promoting our beer, and I think it does well for him. But no, we appreciate the support anywhere we get, and yeah, by all means, ask for it. It always helps.
Ron, you had a question. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Can you tell us about your menu, your food menu, and do you know if there's going to be a Beer Fest 22 in Dunedin this year?
Yeah, good question. I almost forgot to mention. Yes, on Beer Fest. It's March 4 and 5 down at Edgewater Park. After a hiatus for last year because of COVID, we're back. Really put a nice emphasis on the live music portion of it. So we got some really good bands going to be down there. And we are hoping for, as usual, the town swells and thousands of people come out for it. There's also a big Beer Fest in Tampa that day, but that doesn't usually affect us. We tend to draw most of the folks from Pinellas County. So we're looking for a great day. Fingers crossed on good weather, March 4 and 5 at Edgewater Park. The food menu, we partner with Corvo Bianco. They are a couple that have done a phenomenal job with their food truck. They're currently working on a facade that's in with the city to have their maybe look a little more permanent. It's a couple, Dina and Josh Leigh, Leigh, and she is an executive chef and is amazing. In addition to their regular day-to-day menu, we do a lot of special events. Our two-story pavilion there, we have a lot of weddings. I think we had 3 events this past weekend. Receptions, anniversary parties, birthdays. She cater anything. I've seen her do a Brazilian menu. I've seen her do just about anything. Just amazing. So their food is really, really good. Yes, they specialize in pizzas and sandwiches and salads, but they also have a big smoker and they do a lot of different things. So their menu changes as well, in addition to the core stuff they do. They have a great brunch menu as well. So they've been a really nice partner for us in what we do.
Andy, would you repeat the name of the caterer, please?
Corvo, Corvo, Bianco, Bianco. And they're right at the south end of our pavilion on the property, and they're open 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday.
Any more questions? Okay, Larry, it's back to you.
I just want to say real quick, great pizza. Great, their pizza is very different and it's good. And you know they can do when they do some kind of like party, because we had the Rotary North did their cornhole tournament there, and it's very good. Thank you, Andy.
You bet. Well, thank you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys come by anytime.
Fun program. Thank you.
Good.
Back to you, Larry.
Thank you. I'm very interested. Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you all soon.
All right. Pat, I'll turn it over to you for the book.
Andy, to thank you for being here. I will sign your name in this book, and we donate this to an elementary school library in our town. This is Explore America's National Parks.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You guys have a good day.
Right. Okay, next week we have our program be Visit St. Pete Clearwater. I know Sally's very excited about them being our program next week, so I surely hope you all will attend. As for announcements, Peace Pole meeting this evening has been canceled at Lucky Lobster. Is that correct, Bev? I believe that's what I saw the email earlier. The Tarpon Springs Rotary Club Rise Against Hunger meal packing event, February 12th, which is this Saturday. I know last week they were still looking for help, so I sent that information out to the club. I do not know if they're still looking, but if you're still interested, visit their website and sign up for the time frame that you'd like to come out and help. Grants Committee, we're still looking for grant to review. So we got to end of March. So if you know, like I said, if I was saying in the past, please go back and if you know any nonprofits, reach out to them, let them know we're out here, and we're out here to try to help if we can. Now, for those of you that might be curious, the board has decided that we're going to go back to hybrid meetings March 1st. So share it with the membership. We'll be going back to meeting in person at the church on March 1st. but we'll also be supporting the virtual format also for those who want to still attend virtually or still have concerns about being out in public at this time, which I greatly understand. I want to make everyone aware now that there'll be no weekly meeting on February 22nd. That is the day before Peace Poll. We have canceled that meeting to be replaced with a Peace Poll dedication on Wednesday the following day at 6 p.m. That will be at the Dunedin Community Center, as we've been talking about over and over again. So please promote the event to your friends, your neighbors, your family, and make sure you try to come also. Do we have any other announcements? Yes, Wendy.
I want to say thank you to the crew that went out to Rotary Park on the causeway. It was chilly willy, and then it was spritzing, and my glasses were like little dots, but we picked up a lot of stuff. Larry, I think you won the bucket. Was the bucket. There was a lot of interesting things on the causeway, and it was great. So we'll try to talk to the other clubs about taking it every 4 months, and we'll do it once a year. And thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thank you for driving that. All right, there's nothing else this time. I would like to go do the four-way test. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Number 1, is it the truth? Number 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4th, will it be beneficial to all concerned? At this time, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for attending today.
Good meeting, Larry.